Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
Anushka, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Institution Innovation Council of Pillai Institute of Management Studies and Research, I am delighted to welcome each one of you to this Idea Generation workshop. A special welcome to Dr. Priam Pillai, COO of Pillai Group of Institution, who has agreed to conduct this workshop. I also welcome our director, Dr. R. Chandran, faculty members, and the students who have joined us today. Let me introduce Dr. Priam, sir, to all of you. Dr. Priam Pillai is the Chief Operating Officer of Mahatma Education Society's Pillai College of Institution. He has a PhD in Mechanical Engineering from MIT. He has launched a number of new initiatives to create an entrepreneurial environment at the campus. He founded the Pillai Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship in 2015. As a faculty member at Pillai College of Engineering, his research interests include development of instruments for material testing, application of GIS, and remote sensing for development of maps that can be used for urban planning. He is the founding partner of Urban Expansion Observatory, a joint research initiative in geospatial technologies between Mahatma Education Society and New York University. He is also the founder of Valectus Pvt Limited, a geospatial analytics firm that won the Maharashtra State Innovation Society Startup Award in 2020. He has received various honors from both the US government and the private groups. Dr. Priam sir, we are delighted to welcome you today. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Anushka, and thank you for having me here today. Normally, we do these sessions in person. So this is the first time I'm doing this as virtually. So hopefully, we all get the same. We all get the same sort of knowledge or whatever it is that you guys want out of this. I think one thing we can do is, in your reactions, just show your hands, or maybe how many people, I'm just curious, want to be, how many of you are sort of first generation, like first time you're thinking about starting your own business? Like, just put a reaction next to your in the chat or next to your name, and it would be interesting to see. Okay.
Your voice broke a bit. If you can just repeat that once again.
So I'm just wanted to see if how many people, just raise your hand, how many people are thinking of starting their own companies, starting their own businesses in this group of people that we have here. Just raise your hand, or just raise your hand in the chat. I mean, a few people are doing it. Okay, so quite a bit. Okay. Okay. How many people already have their family businesses, already have some kind of business? So if you already didn't, just keep your hands raised if you all have one already, or but if you how many people here have family businesses that they have already? So that's one. Anybody else? Let's see, couple. All right. So I'm not sure that what are the rest of the people doing here, right? So everybody kind of thinks that maybe we should start a business and start something on our own, but doesn't know where to start or what to do. And it's a difficult, like it's not easy to start your own business. It's a lot of risk and a lot of work. But since you are here, and we as a college, we encourage a lot of people to start their own businesses. So if you just because you can just by being here, you not only become better at thinking about businesses and thinking about how they work, but you also become better at, even if you want to go find a job later down the road, right? So if you are interested in working somewhere, if you have an idea of like how businesses think, what they require, what are the needs of these businesses, then automatically you're going to be a better employee, a better person, for your boss, you'll get appreciation, more appreciated at your work as well, if you have an idea of what good businesses are and what good ideas are. So this is a idea generation workshop, and so I hope that I wanted to be a little bit more interactive. Some of you, I'll ask you, maybe I can call on you to speak as well. So, but based on sort of your own understanding, and you can type this in the chat, please, and I'll try to read it out. Like, so based on your own understanding, so what is an entrepreneur? Like, what do entrepreneurs do exactly? Go ahead, feel free to type it in the chat if we don't have to answer.
Entrepreneur is a person who starts his own business or anything on its own.
Okay, yeah. Anyone else has any other definition of what an entrepreneur is? Job creator, okay.
We institute free workshops.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Bill Gates taxation.
Innovator, okay. Anyone else have any other definitions of what an entrepreneur is? Risk taker, right?
Yes, sir. An entrepreneur is an individual who takes the risk to start his own business based on any idea.
Okay. Is a leadership, one who has a unique idea, generate employment. So, all these things are partially correct, right? But one of the basic definition of an entrepreneur, or somebody who is someone who solves problems, right? So the way I like to think about it, and none of you guys are like wrong or anything. It's just that the way I like to think about it is that you want to be able to solve problems. Now, it could be problems of society generally. It could be problems of the public individually. It could be problems of just specific businesses. So if you're like a B2B, business to business type company, then you could solve problems of a specific business. So there are n number of problems that people have, and an entrepreneur generally finds and tries to solve some of these problems, right? Someone says he organizes, manages, and assumes the risk of a business or enterprise. So ultimately, the risk, and when you become an entrepreneur, when you start your own business, right, every day you are sort of solving problems, right? You're not just like you're solving like the big grand problem of the society that maybe you see, but you're also solving like small day-to-day problems. Like, I need to get this license from the government. I need to get a customer to buy my product. I need to get I need to basically build an office space. I want to buy some furniture. How do I get the good price for it? So every day you're dealing with vendors, you're dealing with business, you're dealing with clients, you're dealing with customers, you're dealing with various types of government officials. Depending, you might be dealing with so many different types of things, and at the end of the day, you're solving problems, right? Your businesses has their problems, clients have their problems. You are continuously trying to adjust and find solutions for all those problems. So an entrepreneur kind of at the sort of the most basic kind of definition for me is someone who tries to solve some problem of that generally is not knowable, and at the end of the day, they find some solution to it, and they try to market and then make money from that solution, right? We want to ultimately, society has many problems, but not all of them you can make money from, right? Some of them just needs to be solved not by an entrepreneur but by maybe the government or some other people, right? The society has to, but as an entrepreneur, your goal is to create value, create capital, and then invest it, pay your staff, pay your employees. So an entrepreneur has to think about all these things, which means that at the end of the day, they have to make money, right? So the question you may want to ask yourself is not just, do I have, there is a problem, I have the solution, but whether I'll be able to actually make some money from that solution. Okay. So as part of this session, what I want to do to start with, okay, is to have everybody type in the chat what are the problems that you think are there that can be solvable. Okay. Now, the problems don't have to be a very big societal problems, like you're going to fix the road roads in Bombay, all the potholes, you'll find some solution to that. It could be that, that's certainly a problem that we all face. It could be a very small problem. It could be like, there are no good Chinese restaurants in wherever I live, right? So it could be a small problem. It could be a big societal problem, but it has to be a problem that people face, right? So I want people to spend and put it in the chat, maybe a couple of minutes on figuring out what types of problems that you think exist in society, exist in business, exist in your household, somewhere, and then I don't want any solution for it. Okay, I just want the problem. All right. So go ahead, think of some problems, write it down on a piece of paper or in your notebook, and then if you think you have a couple of good ones, just put it in the chat. So Karthik has said something: overpopulation, gender inequality. These are examples of very big, broad problems. Unemployment, okay, also very broad problem. Food delivery issues in your area, okay, that's a good one. Machinery related problems in business, so okay. Homelessness, poverty, okay. Fund flow, okay. Transportation of products in businesses. I guess the faculty can also sort of feel free to put things that they think are problems. Finding a replacement maid when the maid takes leave, okay.
Maybe. Sorry, I was having some internet connectivity problems. Okay, so some people have said about food quality, adulteration, childcare of both parents working, good tablets, flying chair, water is okay. Daycare for senior citizens. Okay, so I mean, there are many people have many problems that they've identified in this list. The thing we want to think about, right, is when we have these so many problems, then there are solutions to this. There already exist solutions to many of these things. Maybe many times they're not affordable, they're not practical. Sometimes you just can't make money, not a sustainable business, right? So the solutions to many of these things, even though they exist, and we need to acknowledge that they exist. So, but one thing that when you think about these problems, these issues as an entrepreneur, you may think that okay, now there are so many various problems that people have. How do I, with my specific skill set, find solutions to these problems? How do I or think about finding a solution to any of these problems now, right? So the idea would then be is once you find critically examine what that solution means, right? Whether you can make money from it, whether it is viable, whether it is legal, right? Whether it is feasible. There are many questions we'll have to answer, and maybe we'll go through some of that today, right? So the first and probably the most important thing is to figure out if you have a solution to any of these problems, or you think you have some solution, what is how are you going to monetize it, right? And this is usually the biggest problem that people have, is that I think I have a good solution to N problem, right? Is there a way I can make money doing trying to solve this, right? So immediately when you think of that, many issues kind of many solutions melt away, right? Because if you're thinking about reducing pollution or something like that, or building better roads, it might be thing. But some solutions will be very difficult to implement because it's not feasible to make money from them if you want to really truly solve this problem, right? But say now you have some solution. And the second thing you kind of want to think about is, okay, I have a solution to my problem. What do I need to do to implement it, right? So the feasibility of so you have you know how to make money from it now. So now you have to think about whether it is feasible to do it. Okay. Now the feasibility question is, if your solution involves, for example, the government changing some rules, right? It becomes unfeasible. So for example, your solution to pollution is to have everybody have electric cars, right? So maybe you are going to be an electric car manufacturer, right? Great business. You can make money. People would buy electric cars. But then what is the feasibility of you putting, selling electric cars, and what are the obstacles that you will face getting an electric car from your factory into a consumer's house, right? So there are n things that have to happen along the way, which includes putting charging stations into buildings, charging stations into where people get diesel and petrol. You need an electric car charging place. There are issues with what is the range of this car, whether it will be accepted by the market, whether it will be a good product to sell. Other issues with maintenance of the batteries, all sorts of things that can come into play, right? So then the question you have to ask now: I have a solution to pollution, and it's an electric car, and I can make money, and it's a profitable business. Then I also now can I also now use it to feasible for me to implement, right? Like there are many obstacles and challenges that go into the feasibility of implementing something like this that can also cause you to stop your sort of business. The third thing that you want to look at when evaluating a proposed solution is the competition. You might have a good solution, the solution might exist, but then who's your competition to in this space, right? So there are there are many businesses, lots of competition exists, difficult to compete because there is too many people you want. So you want to find a business or an idea that helps out a small, tiny group of people, right? So a lot of times people might teach you that, a business has to capture market share and the market has to be huge, and if you capture 10% of it, you'll get this much money. But I feel like when you're an entrepreneur, I think that's sort of not a great way to look at it. I think that it's better to look at a small market, right? I want to capture a small market that I can completely, that is not being serviced right now by my competition, right? Competition is not touching the market for whatever reason. I want to be able to get that market, and once I capture it fully, then I can start pushing my competition out of other spaces. For example, Amazon.com, first thing that Amazon started selling. You can try to type it in the chat. Amazon, everybody uses Amazon, and Amazon sold. Before they started selling, now they're selling, but before that, can people hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yeah, who can tell me what was the first thing that Amazon sold before they sold anything else?
We can hear you.
Anybody? Want to tell me what Amazon sold first? Does anybody know?
Computers?
No, the computers. So most of you weren't alive when this was there. I guess I remember it, but most of you don't probably. Anybody remembers? Books. Good. Amazon first started by selling books. Not only that, they started selling books online to college students. Okay. So they went in the beginning, they went after a very, very small market, right? Selling books online to college students was their Amazon was that. They didn't sell anything else. I used to think of Amazon as a bookstore, online bookstore. Buy books online when I was in college. Amazon started off selling books online to college students. A very, very small market. They were not the first people to sell things online. There were companies before them also that was selling things online. It was not an original idea, but what they did was they went after a very small segment of customers, right? Selling books online to college students. That's their main thing. And then over time, they started selling more and more things, and more people started to buy things on Amazon. And then they became the big giant behemoth that they are today. People know how Facebook started. What was Facebook like it is today? What was it? What was Facebook when it started? Was Facebook the first social network? With the social networks before Facebook?
Orkut.
Yeah, sure. Orkut, MySpace, Friendster, so many were there, right? There are many different ones. So why did Facebook become successful and sort of the dominant player in this? Anyone? So Facebook, when they first started, was again only for college students. So you needed a college ID, in email ID, to register for Facebook. And it was said, we will not have our social network open to everybody. We'll only have it for college, so you could see your college friends and your college mates. You can share photos with you. So they decided that they would start off by going for a very small segment of the population. So they only did Harvard and Ivy League. First, it was only Ivy Leagues, and then it was like some other colleges, and then slowly they kept on adding more and more colleges, and eventually they started opening up to everybody, right? So Facebook realized early that they didn't want to be everything for everybody. They would want to be a social network for college students of specific colleges itself. So you could only see people in your own college. You couldn't see people outside, right? So but that was incentive enough for people to register because no one was doing it that way, right? And then that basically made them popular, adding more and more features. And when you have a network like that, you keep on building it and it becomes huge on its own. So Facebook at a very niche level went after college students. They, again, not an original idea, right? Not an original idea that they had. They were not unique in starting a social network. They were all other social networks. But they became successful because they went after a specific group, made that group very happy, didn't want to leave them. And then they started expanding, right? So one thing I noticed a lot of people do in India, especially, I don't know, is they try to do everything in the beginning, right? They want to, they want to start a social network and they want to loan you money. Then they want to you can buy things from them. You do this, that, and the other, like everything in the beginning. And it's kind of, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, honestly. Most of the time, they're not really profitable and they don't have that kind of market domination that these other companies start to get, right? That have. Anybody can give me any other example? You don't have to go very far, right? You can even think about Google, right? Was Google the first search engine? No, right? Google was Yahoo, Alta Vista. There were many search engines around. They still are, but Google dominated the search engine space because they are very simple. They didn't have, like Yahoo had so many articles and ads and this and that and the other. And the page, Google just had a simple search bar. You put whatever you want to search. They still have the same thing in that, and then it gives you the results, right? So Google also said, we're not going to try to do like everything. We're only going to do something very specific. I'm going to go capture that. Okay. I can give you another example. Airbnb, right? People know what Airbnb is. Anybody want to tell me what Airbnb is?
Sorry, bed and breakfast.
Yeah, Air Breakfast, right? It's an online booking site where you can put your personal house on that website, and people can book it and stay there for a few days or a couple of weeks and then go. Yeah, it's a platform to rent your home, right? Again, not the first one. There was something called couch surfing before that. Airbnb had a different sort of approach. They said that we will allow people to book the dates and times and everything. Otherwise in couch surfing, you had to kind of email the person and the person had to be okay. And then they come over and you stay. But Airbnb just sort of took all that out, said you can just directly book someone's house through our website, made it a simpler process, more user-friendly. It took an existing idea, made it more user-friendly, made it better tailored to certain groups of people. And then they kind of grew from there. So all these businesses, right, you start to notice a pattern. When they start, they don't try to go after huge markets that have a lot of competition, where lots of people are trying to get to them. They try to get into a small niche area and then try to capture that area fully. And once they capture that area fully, once they have a loyal customer base that's paying them, generating revenue from regularly, then they sort of go and expand to other spaces. So this is kind of the many of these businesses sort of have started, right? This didn't start big. They worked hard, they knew what the market wanted, and then they kind of captured like that slice of that market that is there. And that's how you kind of get around your competition, right? So you find out who your competition is not serving. And once you realize who your competition is not serving, you can then go build a product for those people, and then people will come after that product. Okay. So I think I mentioned you have to make money from your idea. Your idea has to be feasible. You have to try to find ways to come around your competition. And what you need, the fourth thing that you need is capital. You need money to start a business. So any business, to start, somebody, either you, your family, friends, your parents, your relatives, your chachas and buas and nanas and nanis, somebody has to put some funds into this. Okay. So you guys are in a lucky time in a way, because nowadays there's a lot of money sloshing around in the world, because governments are printing money, governments are loaning money. A lot of people have funds that they haven't been spending in the last 2 years because no travel, no food, no restaurants, nothing. Everybody has money that's just accumulated with them over the last 2 years, especially wealthier people. This is probably a good time to start a business, because this money is going to be looking for a place to go, and it can go to people who have good ideas, who want to make their ideas real, but don't have the funds to do it. This is an investment, right? Once you get an investor, you have to pay them back, right? It's not like someone is going to give you money somebody for no reason. You have to if you're getting an investor, you should be thinking about, okay, now I have to pay this guy or a girl back, and then how do I do that? Okay. And that's what the investors are going to ask you as soon as you walk into their door. But good news, right now, lots of money everybody has, especially rich people, to spend on starting businesses. And then the final thing that I think I want to mention is, like, you have to build a team, right? Most founders, most groups of people who start businesses started with other people, right? There's a co-founder or multiple founders who work together to do something. So it's very important that you're thinking about what your team, and your team should complement, right, each other. So if you're all business, you need maybe some technical guys to help you out. You need marketing, you need sales, whatever, right? So you cannot do it all on your own. That's very difficult. You need some co-founders to start off, especially these days, because there are so many different aspects to a business, right? It's not just not just you open a shop and start selling, right? It's an online technical component. There's legal, financial, so many things are there. So having founders that will help, co-founders that will help you out with this stuff is good too. Okay. So now that I've gotten some of these sort of loosely defined 5 things out of the way, I want you guys to, some of you have thought of problems. Maybe I want to think through some of these solutions now with you, right? So when you have a problem statement, okay, solution, I want to solve it using electric cars, and how do I find a solution for that? And like, how do I evaluate it using the framework that I just did? Okay. So I hope everybody just spends a little bit of time thinking about this. And then when you're done, just send me a, just put something in the chat saying I'm done, and then maybe we can sort of discuss it together. Okay. Okay. Anybody wants to sort of discuss their sort of problem and propose solution?
I think we should take Rahul Zunzarao's problem, household related services like repairing of electronics. Rahul, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I think that seems like a, good problem too. Would you like to do that along with Priam sir?
Yeah, Rahul, why don't you just tell me about the problem you had put up?
Unmute and go ahead.
The problems nowadays we face in a lockdown period, like household related problems. So my idea behind that is to provide all these services to the household people in the repairing of their electronic devices, for example, TV and all the electric appliances.
Okay. No, actually, that's a very good good idea. There are many, our world is becoming very complex, right? So repairing all our devices, our tablets, phones, TVs, computers, mixer, grinders, everything, is a very good business to have. But I guess one of the questions is, and you can probably, I'm reasonably convinced you can probably make money from it too. But I'll just ask. So, is it feasible, first of all, to try to have a business repair like everything? Rahul?
Yes, sir.
It is feasible to have a business repair everything?
Yes, sir. I think so.
You think so? Like a mixer, grinder, like a MacBook Pro, a Panasonic widescreen TV. Like, I mean, it's a, maybe, I don't know how good you are at technology stuff, but I think that's quite a challenging thing, especially when you come to try to replace parts and components, right? Some components sometimes just burn. It's not like you're just not replacing the screen, you have to replace specific chips on the motherboards or a burnt out motor or something like that. So I feel like doing everything for everybody is difficult. But you can also certainly think about starting a very specific repair shop for like a product that maybe not many people have. Like, say, for example, I have my own MacBook, right? So MacBook Pro. And very difficult to repair from the manufacturer. Apple doesn't really help you repair it at all. It's very expensive if it's out of warranty. But it's a good machine. Sometimes it's a very minor damage, and I need to just get it repaired. I have a local dealer that will just take my machine, fix the specific problem, not charge me too much money, repair it and send it back. So there is scope for putting in like a very niche product into for repairs, right? So if you have, and you can pay, you can, and which you can make money from, right? Because what you also need to do is you need to keep spare parts, right? Spare parts, spare components available with you so that you can repair it and immediately send it back. You can, because you don't want a repair to take very long time, right? So if you have to send it to a shop for like 2, 3, 4 months, then it's not worth it for me to do that. I might as well have to buy a new computer anyway. But if you can repair it within a couple of days and send it back, that's kind of a good user experience. So one thing, when I say feasibility, it might be feasible to say that you can repair everything, but you also have to think about the public who are your customers and your clients. That if I try to do everything for everybody, then it's going to be very difficult. So when we try to repair a MacBook, and if I get a good MacBook, I can get it repaired within a week and send it back. So the customer will be very happy that you're able to do that, right? Versus, you have a MacBook, now I don't have the parts, the components, I have to order it. The components come from China, it takes another couple of weeks, and that whole thing starts to happen. So this is a good business idea, repairing all these things. And I think that, but one thing you want to think about is specifically what products you want to repair, right? And, do a good job at that product, right? Because if you try to do too many things, again, if you take 6 months to repair my computer, I'm going to buy a new one anyway, right? So there's no point. But if you take a week, yeah, I can wait for a week to get a new machine, right? So one of the things that everybody has to think about is how your users are going to, what's the experience of your user, right? What is their, when they're dealing with you, right? Everybody wants everything fast now, right? Are they going to wait like 3 months while you have to order some component from China, some component from Taiwan, something from Korea, then repair it and then send it back? So you don't want to do that, right? Your customers should have it 1 week's time my thing is repaired and I'm going to send it back. So it's a good idea. I think it's a great, actually a fantastic idea. But I think you can start with thinking about the specific niche products that you want to do. Okay, anybody else? Okay, so anybody else wants to volunteer? Now, somebody here has, I think Sri Lakshmi has said, shops in cities not being friendly to physically challenged. Can you, Sri Lakshmi, can you elaborate on that? Is Sri Lakshmi still here or she's gone?
Sri Lakshmi is there. Can't see her. I can't see her. Maybe we can take Pawar sir's idea of daycare for senior citizens.
Okay. Daycare for senior citizens. So Pawar sir, why don't you tell us what you sort of thinking about that?
Good afternoon, everybody. See, many elderly people. So both that son and daughter-in-law, they are working nowadays, and sometimes one of the senior citizen out of those two, one of them may expire, and so they require this. Son and daughter requires the daycare and all sometimes. So that is the idea.
No, also good idea. I don't know if anything like this exists already. You know, again, you have to evaluate it. Can you make money from it? Certainly, you're going to charge people for providing the service. Is it feasible? Yeah, I mean, you need a space like for where senior citizens can spend their day. Maybe they can play carom and have areas for walking, and maybe next to a garden or something like that. So certainly that is also a very doable kind of thing. And I think then there is the questions of, you know, then once those two things are, those are the two main ones, then it's mostly like, what is your competition, right? Like, what do senior citizens do? This is a sufficiently small enough kind of group of a market that you could probably target relatively straightforward way, right? So that is also a good kind of thing. One thing I wouldn't do is maybe not call it daycare, right? So one of the things that you want to think about is, do senior citizens want to go into daycare, right? There may be pride issues involved, so maybe you should call it senior activities center or something like that, right? Where seniors can kind of develop various activities, can engage in various activities with other seniors and sort of do those sort of things. So I think this is the kind of a good idea. It fits into a small niche group. There's ways to very clear cut method to make money from it. It's simple enough to understand for most people of what it is. So it's a good idea.
And I think it's a need of the hour also. So
Yes,
Pawar
yes.
sir,
Yeah.
Pawar sir, we have to do something about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, and
Well,
it's a
good
one
idea.
thing you want.
few of us we can come together and we will get start.
Yeah, no, seriously,
Yes,
it's a
exactly.
problem. Definitely, it's a
Yeah.
problem. And definitely people
Yeah.
would like to pay for that service. And,
Yes.
you know, with all our networking that we have to create some activities or to do something and keep, I mean, it can definitely We can't participate in the business plan, but definitely we can try.
Correct.
So,
Okay.
I mean, and the there is certainly scope for this kinds of businesses. So I mean, one thing that I guess I didn't mention is sort of you want to think about long-term trends in the Indian sort of population, right? The Indian population, somebody said overpopulation, but the fact is India's population is stabilizing, right? And over the next 10 years, it's probably going to start to become flat or maybe even start to decline, right? So people are having fewer and fewer children, right? And so there's going to be population bulge, right? If you have a big family, 3, 4, 5 children, then yeah, some children can always sort of come and take care of you when you become older. But if you only want to have like 1 or 2 kids, right, they're going to be busy with their work, school, jobs, whatever, right? In the long run, this service is going to be not optional, it will be essential, right? So because we are going to have fewer kids and our kids are going to have fewer kids, right? And some of those kids are going to go abroad or travel somewhere and not be studying or being near you. So really think about what's going to happen to this big bulge of senior people, especially in cities, right? So in big cities, there are going to be fewer and fewer people to take care of the senior citizens. So from a business perspective, it makes sense. Now, how far along the road this happens, whether it happens in 10 years or 20 years or 30 years, I don't know. But it will happen, right? Eventually, India's population will stabilize and start to decline. In fact, it's already stabilized in many states, right? So thinking about what long-term trends are going to happen, and then sort of setting up your business now so that when that thing comes, you are ready for it, is a very good sort of way to think about these things as well. Anybody else wants to say anything? Talk about their idea. I think Chandran sir says
Chandran
something
says,
about
yeah.
Yeah.
Chandran sir, go ahead.
Are you able to hear me, Selina?
Yes,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There are abundant area. Many opportunities are there. For example, avocado is available for 60 rupees, just about 1,000 kilometers away. But the same product is here sold for about 600 rupees. Fresh fruit is available for about 60 rupees. That is sold here for about 300 rupees. So 500-600% margin. Why? Kinnur apple is available in Himachal Pradesh for about 10 rupees per kg. Here it is, you have to pay through nose about 120 rupees minimum, even during season. How to make the logistics system quite perfect and bringing at little lower price, one can make money like hell. I'm telling you about out of 365 days, minimum 300 days you can do. Even 100 kilograms, if you are able to sell, one can make easily daily about 3,000 to 4,000 rupees per month. It is going to be 1.5 lakh or 2 lakhs. Just investment is very low. Only the system should be made proper. Consumers are, as Priam sir was mentioning, Indian population is not going to go down. It is stabilized. But the standard of living is completely different. The lifestyle is different. In our days, what was avocado? Nobody knew. What was passion fruit? Nobody knew. What was a button mushroom? Nobody knew. So now these kinds of small business activities, one can make a sufficient amount of money. Even the corporate vice president position cannot give this kinds of satisfaction. So everybody in our group, in our students community, is from some place of origin. maybe from UP, maybe from Kerala, maybe from Tamil Nadu, maybe from Andhra Pradesh. If we go and explore the possibility of the sourcing at cheapest and best price possible, make a connecting link here, either malls or wholesaler or dealer or distributor or any powerful business networking, one can easily do business. These are all low risk. Sir was mentioning throughout, low risk, maximum benefit, minimum amount of investment, maximum of profit earning. This is going to be the smart way of doing business henceforth. What happens is, so far the farmers and agriculturists are completely illiterate. They cannot use any sort of modern gadgets to do business. Since our youngsters are very much keen on making money, little compromise on going into sourcing. Just make use of their fathers or grandfathers to go and see the places of the sourcing, and you are going to the best community service through that. If any other mall in Bombay is sourcing for about 100 rupees, if you are going to give for about 90 rupees, he's getting about a 10 rupees concession. So naturally, it is going to contribute to him. In turn, the customers are also getting some benefit. Just do a project. Every agricultural item is like a big project, right from place of origin till it goes to the consumer. Work out the thing, sit with the lorry people or refrigerator container or the transportation system, and just to do during summer internship. Within 2 months, you can learn the whole system of operation. Money will be flowing like mad, crazy. Every day, these people are going to consume. Or else, go for some value addition. Lassalgaon, onions are available. Make a small plant by just onion paste or onion flakes or onion powder, and make the small packets. Just to quote the price, whatever you want. Minimum 100%, I can assure you, it's called value creation. So far, India is starving for getting better entrepreneurs in proper form. All the traditional people are getting involved, but more than that, you can do best job, better packing, better labeling, better expiry date stamping, manufacturing stamping. Just you can professionalize the whole system, right? This is from my, which is of course not that much connected with the sir's program today. His main objective is for creating idea, generating idea for business. Here, what I am giving is just don't think that going to the farmland or going to the rural areas, going to the remote areas, struggling sometimes to collect or source the product and bringing here is out of your reach. Everything is possible. Just you can fine tune everything with your professionalism, speed, and also perfection in packing, right? Just by God's grace, if you're getting some opportunities like Walmart or Walgreen or Tesco or some international brand owners or malls, you will be the great winner. Today, Walmart is international baniya shop. $516 billion is the total turnover. What you need is just 0.0001% in supplying to such kind of people. So you'll become a great businessman. Think business. Think of earning, generating honest revenue. Think of just giving some employment opportunities right from rural areas up to everywhere. Now, you are expected to do so many things in entrepreneurial ventures. You can do wonders. You have an age, you have energy, you have so many ideas, but try to implement. For any business, you have to come for 1,000 days. Our Marwadis, Indians, and Gujaratis are always educating the younger generation that 1,000 days, don't expect anything. Crossing 1,000 days, if you don't earn, it is a shame for you and for the business also. This is the way these traditional business communities groom the next generation for taking over business. This is from my view. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Selina.
No, I think Sir has a few good points, and maybe I would also say one or two things about. So when you're looking for ideas, right? These ideas, it's not like people are born with good ideas, right? They go around and they find solutions to issues, and they generate, they find these ideas because they are very observant. So Mark Zuckerberg wanted to get to know another girl who lived from his college, and to do that he created Facebook. Right? He wanted to just to get to know a girl who was in his college, and he created Facebook so that all these people would sign up, and then he would be able to talk to this girl and interact with her. Now, whatever your motivations are, the point is that because he had that problem, he found a way to solve it, and then he realized that maybe everybody has the same issue. Like maybe there are all sorts of people who want to meet each other and interact with each other over the internet, and I want to give them a way to do that easily, like share photos, do all sorts of things. So so he created this whole idea based on his own requirement and needs, right? But many times it's not like you have some requirement that everybody else has. It's, and you find like a really good solution for it. But the issue, the what you should really be, I think the point what I'm trying to make is that you have to be observant, right? You have to be very observant about who people are, what do they need, and how can you provide for those needs, right? So like getting cheap vegetables is, or fruits is just a need. That's certainly a need of the middle class. So if you can do that, people will certainly pay you for it, right? And there are opportunities and inefficiencies that you can always exploit, right? So if you find out that in a factory that manufactures paper products, that there is every month or every quarter 1 or 2 tons of paper is just wasted because it's low quality or poor quality or some because of some machine process. You can sort of find, all this material is wasted. How do I fix it? Why is it wasted? Where are the inefficiencies in the process that is leading to this waste, right? So if you go to a paper factory and you sit there, you'll see so many inefficiencies, and you can then think about, okay, there are n number of inefficiencies here. By solving just 2 or 3, I'm going to save this factory crores, right, every year. And you can then think, okay, now because I'm going to save this factory crores every year, then they can pay me a couple of lakhs to find a product that could save it for them, right? And the other, that is a technical inefficiency that you're solving, but sometimes it could be a financial inefficiency also, right? So people who run family businesses, and if you talk to them, they'll be happy to tell you, right, that they know the price of every single product along their supply chain. Like if they're selling you tiles, for example, right, they'll know the cost at the mine where the tile is coming from, the cost of the factory, the cost of transportation, the cost of getting it into the godown and the warehouse, then the cost of transport from the godown to the site. Everything they will know exactly, and they will know not only their prices, they'll know the prices of their competitors. That वो उसका ज़्यादा भाव उसमें जाता है, उसका ज़्यादा भाव उसमें जाता है, and then they will know the price of every single step of a supply chain, right? And then if you think about it, okay, well, if I can maybe make this piece more efficient, right? I can make this product cheaper for my consumer. Or the problem with these guys that they have is that they don't really have a good way to show what like the styles would look like in someone's flat, right? So I can have a service that takes different tiles, different colors, and like lays it out on a 3D model flat and kind of shows it to the customer who may like it and then buy this style from us, right? So the idea is always to find like a gap. It could be a financial gap, it could be a technical gap, it could be some gap where you will develop a slight competitive advantage over your competitors, and then exploit it to see if you can make money, right? And this gap, okay, there are financial gaps and technical gaps, but there's also like marketing gap, right? You could just be better at marketing than your customer, right? So and many times people will buy a more expensive product because it has better marketing. Everybody knows this, right? There's some products that there's no difference between the two, but because one is doing more marketing than the other, we are willing to pay 10 times the amount, 20 times the amount, right? So there is gaps in marketing and presentation of the products as well, right? So don't think that just because you have a cheaper product, people will buy it. There's cheapness, there's the customer satisfaction, there's even the marketing, like how much you have invested in marketing makes a difference to the final price point of your product as well. So many different issues that I guess I've mentioned. I think somebody else had raised their hands. I'm sorry, I didn't. Does anybody want to suggest another idea that we can sort of discuss?
I didn't see another hand.
Okay. Anybody wants to discuss any of their ideas or suggestions? Right. Okay. Maybe I will just sort of make a last few comments, and then Selena, maybe we can just announce stuff about the business plan competition after that.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So when you're thinking about your ideas, right, I would suggest try to think about which customers can I target, what problems are they facing that I can solve, right? And try not to make it like everybody would want this product, right? So that's not a great way to think about these things. I think try to find a niche group of people who would want it, and then try to tailor it to them. Try to make it so that they would love to get whatever you are providing it for them, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing is, in your day-to-day life, maybe you don't consciously look at all these things, but maybe you should start to look at, like, where is the ways I can start to make some money, right? So what are the problems that I can solve, and then how do I monetize those problems, right? So and look out for inefficiencies, right? If we all are very inefficient sometimes in doing certain things, and if we can find a way to get around those inefficiencies as an entrepreneur, that's a good opportunity for you to exploit, because inefficiencies are generated for whatever reason, that I'm doing it this way because it's been done the same way for so many years, right? So but is that the optimal way to do it, right? That's the other thing. And one final thing I would say, that the technology is never the solution most of the time to problems, right? Technology can bring you closer to your clients or your customers, right? And then because you're closer to your clients and customers, it will look like you are solving some problem for them. But ultimately, the technology is just a way to make your clients and customers happier. So if you are integrating technology and your clients are happier because of you integrated some technology in your thing, I think you can then you can then kind of think about, okay, customers and clients can sort of benefit from the technology, but the technology itself shouldn't be like kind of the end goal most of the time, the product most of the time. So I think, having said all these things, remember the 5 things that I told you. Hopefully you guys will have written it down. I will open it up to questions for maybe a few seconds. If there are any final questions.
Actually, Priam sir, we had told them about the business plan competition and we shared the posters with them as well. If you can just talk a little bit about the process and how they will learn through the process.
Yeah. So we have an annual business plan competition in the college. We've had around 20 past winners. Many of them have gone on. One guy have gone on to have multi-crore sort of valuations for their businesses. And if you're part of the competition, we'll have them try to interact with you. But the business plan competition is sort of, we want to, it's kind of a pre-incubation. We want to see whatever ideas you have. We'll take those ideas, put them in front of first me and some of your faculty members, but we'll also put them in front of outsiders, CAs, VCs, and we'll try to kind of try to turn it from an idea into like actually a concrete sort of business proposal, right? So our goal is not to our goal is to try to see how good your idea is and how well it can be implemented, but also to sort of polish it up and sort of, so you can go, you have good presentations, you can go in front of investors, go in front of clients, and you know what it will take finally at the end of it to sort of build a good business, right? So all these things we try to do with the business plan competition, and we want you to sort of treat the business plan competition as a learning experience, right? So you can you sort of take a business from just kind of a vague idea into a concrete kind of proposal that then you can then go to investors or go to clients or stuff like that. So that is the business plan competition, and it's a 1 lakh grand prize for the winner, right? So whoever wins, it's not like, and the prize is, we just give the check to the winner. We don't necessarily like say that you have to use it for this, that, and that. It's a check that you can take home. You can use it. Most all of them have used it to invest in their businesses, right? The whatever cash prize that we have given it. But if you we don't have any restrictions that you have to use it for your business. You can go have a big party at the end of the year or something as well if you want to. But most people actually do use it for their businesses. So hopefully that, I think Selena, did I cover?
Yes, you did. Yeah. So I just want to, before we close, thank you. Before we close, and I hand over to Anushri to say the thanks, Anushka to say the thanks. I just want to tell all the students that the idea generation, the first step is registering for the competition with the list of your team members. 25th September is the last day. And then you have till 5th October to give up to 3 ideas if you're interested. And I encourage all of you to be a part of the journey. Like I told you in the class day before yesterday, at least be a part of the journey. Try and look at your idea. Think of something. It's a great learning experience. I'd encourage all of you to really do that. Thank you. And over to Anushka.
Thank you so much, Dr. Priam sir, for taking this precious time from your busy schedule and sharing your thoughts with us. The takeaway was how our feasible ideas can make us help make money, and that every gap, if exploited properly, can be turned into an opportunity. And we are now more confident about participating in business plan competition. I would also like to thank our director, Dr. R. Chandran sir, IIC President Dr. Shahida ma'am, the technical team handled by Dr. Ashish sir, our faculty members and the students for attending this workshop. Lastly, to all the fellow classmates, let's use this opportunity to participate and learn through the business plan competition. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If some of you can just put on your videos, we'd like to take a picture. Is it possible for some of you? Meros, Pawar sir, Ritika, Saili Patel, Jay Patel, Lakshmi, Betty ma'am, Shubha ma'am. Just reading some names that I can see here. Shahida ma'am, Subbalakshmi, Shraddha. Albi is taking pictures and she had made this request. So, Meros, Pawar sir. You got some picture, you have Albi, is that good enough?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you can just say 1, 2, 3.
Can everybody smile? Yeah, done. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anushka. Good job. Thank you, Priyam sir. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Bye. Bye.